Hello everyone, it's me, SDS Man, here with another Giants video. And for those of you who watch this channel, I do a lot of content on this channel. I obviously stream on Twitch, I do a lot of video game stuff, recently I've done a lot of TV sort of analysis, but I used to talk a lot on this channel about sports, specifically football, and more specifically the New York Giants. And some of you may have noticed I haven't done a video on the New York Giants in a while, and that's because as a Giants fan, it's been really hard. It's been really hard to do videos because they're just so awful that it's just unbearable sometimes to do videos. I'm a very passionate fan, and I have felt more anger over this season than probably any Giant season ever. And that's not really what I'm here to talk about. Instead, I'm here to talk about one player on the New York Giants, Eli Manning. So, I just finished watching the Giants-Dolphins game, I should say. The Giants won pretty handily. The defense stepped up, and there were some issues on the team, but we're not going to get into that right now. And Eli Manning himself didn't play that well. He did have 2 touchdowns, but he also had 3 interceptions. And, he had some good throws, especially to Sterling Shepard, one really good play to Golden Tate, and then a few to Slayton. But I'm not here to talk about that game. Because there's a good chance that this is Eli Manning's last game as a Giant and perhaps his last home game. I don't think it is. I think they're going to shut down Daniel Jones for the rest of the year. I also think that's a smart move. But I'm here more to talk about Eli Manning, his legacy, but more specifically, what he means to me. So I've been a Giants fan for a long time now, double-digit years, probably around 16 years, most of my life, despite being from New England, despite being around, being raised and being around Patriots fans my whole life. I just never liked the Patriots, and I especially don't like them now, but I never liked them as a kid, and I ultimately went with the second closest team, which happened to be the New York Giants. And on that team is Eli Manning, who not only is my favorite New York Giant of all time, who not only is my favorite football player of all time, but who is my favorite athlete of all time. And I've been very critical of Eli Manning in the past couple of years. But I also feel like Eli Manning gets a lot of unfair blame. There's a lot of talk going around now about his legacy. What is his legacy? Everyone is like, wow, he's 500. He has as many wins as he has losses, or he's led the league in interceptions a few times. And yeah, Eli Manning is far from perfect. He's had some bad years. But I'm not here to debate whether Eli Manning is a future Hall of Famer, whether Eli Manning's legacy should be worshipped or how criticized it should be. But what I'm here to say is, there's only one thing that I want from my team. I want them to win. I want them to play well. But most of all, I want them to win Super Bowls. And Eli Manning has done that twice. Some people may say it's a magic carpet ride. I tend to disagree. I don't think that can just happen twice by chance. Especially the second time, where I think Eli Manning carried that 2012 team through the regular season, made an amazing playoff run, and an incredible Super Bowl performance. Eli Manning he means so much to me. I have watched him my entire life play for the New York Giants. And even this year when Daniel Jones stepped in, as much as I was rooting for Daniel Jones, and how disappointed I was to see Daniel Jones get hurt, I really didn't want to see Eli Manning play for the rest of the year, and that was nothing against Eli Manning. Yes, his play the past couple of years have not been good. His play really since that Super Bowl has not been good, and I think he gets a lot of more blame than he should. He's been on some really terrible teams with awful defenses, terrible offensive lines. Before Saquon Barkley, he went many seasons without any good running game. And he had on and off receive. Besides Odell Beckham, maybe, he had receivers that were hurt a lot and were always hot and cold, still to this day. And Tom Coughlin was a pretty good coach, I would say. But besides that, some pretty bad coaching as well. I don't think it's really fair to put all of this on Eli Manning. Maybe recently a lot more than should, but even like today or even like last week, he didn't lose that game. There's been a lot of issues with the Giants that run deep, and I think Eli Manning, like many quarterbacks, gets too much of the blame when they lose. It's besides the point, though. Back to my original point, when Daniel Jones took over, and again, I didn't want to see Eli Manning play because I really wanted to see Daniel Jones progress as a rookie. I really wanted to see him start making strides, which I think he struggled a lot this year, but he was a rookie. I think in some elements he really didn't struggle, in other elements he did, and I wanted to see by the end of the season at least some sort of progression or some sort of momentum into next year. Obviously, he got hurt. I was actually at that game, the Packers-Giants game, where he got hurt, and that never fun to watch. But regardless, Eli Manning could have possibly played his last game today. And that's got me really emotional. I'm not even going to lie. I sort of cried when I watched him walk off the field, when I watched the Giants fans stand up and cheer for him. It hit me very emotionally. Eli Manning has been my quarterback this whole time. I root for him. I loved him. I loved watching him. I loved cheering for him. And watching him possibly play his last Giants game is pretty... It's really hard to accept, right? Even though I thought that game against Buffalo was his last game, at least for the Giants, it's now hard to sort of relive that. And now be like, this may be his last game. This may be his send-off. I don't think it will be, but regardless, I think now is the perfect time, in case it is, to look over his legacy. And people are going to say Eli Manning's not that good. How can you even like Eli Manning? The dude won his 2 Super Bowls. How many quarterbacks have did that? Aaron Rodgers hasn't done it. Drew Brees hasn't done it. You know what I'm saying? There's so many quarterbacks that haven't done it. What I'm feeling now is what I'm sort of expecting Patriots fans to feel possibly at the end of the season or next year, when Tom Brady ultimately retires. And people may say, well, Tom Brady won 6, he's much better. Sure, but that doesn't give necessarily Patriots fans a right to be more sad or more emotional than I am. Because I love Eli Manning just as much as Patriots fans love Tom Brady. I love Eli Manning. And I was critical of him at some points, especially last year and a little bit in 2017 and 16. But I was critical of him because I had so much respect for Eli Manning. I had so much passion for Eli Manning. I had so much, I guess like in a weird way, love for Eli Manning. And watching him not play well, upset me. Of course it did. But really all I wanted to say was I'm going to miss watching Eli Manning play. I really am. Because he is by far my favorite player. And he's done something that not many teams can claim their quarterback has done for them. And that's win 2 Super Bowls. And that's be someone you love rooting for. Someone you respect. Someone you admire. And someone you always hope wins. And Eli Manning has dealt with a lot of criticism from the media, especially New York. They're rough. But he's dealt with a lot of people who I think may just look at his wins-loss, may look at his stats and may say, whatever. But the dude's won 2 Super Bowls, and that's all I care. If Daniel Jones lost the next 5 seasons, let's say he had a losing record the next 5 seasons, but then won a Super Bowl after that, I would love him. I would love him. Because that's what I want. That's what I look for in any team, is winning a Super Bowl. And I will never forget, I have a story. I will never forget the first Super Bowl, obviously very memorable, being the undefeated Patriots. But I remember the second Super Bowl, I was in high school. And I remember some kid came up to me once, a Patriots fan. And he looked at me. I had my Giant stuff on. We were playing. It was like I think it was like a day or two. It was 2 days, 3 days before the Super Bowl. He looked at me right in the eyes, and he said, "Your team does not stand a chance. Eli Manning sucks. He got lucky the first time. You're not gonna win." And I was like, I didn't really say anything. I'm like, all right, I guess maybe. And then I watched that game, and I said, you know what? Maybe Eli Manning, isn't always the best. But when he won that Super Bowl, when he threw that chimney of a pass to Mario Manningham, nothing can outshine that moment. I'll always root for Eli Manning in retirement. If he goes on a different team, he could go on a team that I hate. There's many teams I don't like in the National Football League. I would still root for him. I would still get behind him. And I would still say, go Eli. Because at the end of the day, he'll always be my quarterback. Hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.